What's up, everybody? My name is Zach Pasquarello. Today is April 2nd, 2024, and I am going to tell you exactly how much money I made in March. I own a bookkeeping business, Harrisburg Bookkeeping. I've been doing it for almost 4 years, and now I make these YouTube videos honestly just because I enjoy talking about my bookkeeping business and I enjoy teaching you how to start your own bookkeeping business. So I have close to 60 clients right now, 60 bookkeeping clients set up on monthly recurring revenue, a subscription base. So every single month, close to 60 business owners pay me to do their bookkeeping. I work exclusively, however, independently with QuickBooks Online. So if you are a business owner not using QuickBooks Online, I don't do your bookkeeping. I'm very specific. I'm a QuickBooks expert, so I don't mess around with QuickBooks Desktop or Sage or Xero or any other accounting software, strictly QuickBooks Online. And if you're thinking about starting a bookkeeping business, or maybe you're trying to grow your bookkeeping business, I strongly recommend pick one software, because that will enable you to become an expert in that software. And you will be able to work so much more efficiently, so much faster if you focus on one software. I also only do bookkeeping. So my 60 clients only pay me for bookkeeping. I don't do payroll, I don't do taxes, CFO services, none of that. And the same concept with working the QuickBooks Online as a software, this enables me to be a bookkeeping expert. So I'm really, really good at bookkeeping, really good at QuickBooks Online. That's how I service 60 clients every month. That's how I continue to grow my bookkeeping business. Now, before we get into it, let me just say, I'm not making these videos. These videos honestly are kind of like a personal journal for me, like something that I can maybe look back on in 2 or 3 years and say, wow, look where I was in 2024. Look where I am now. I make these videos for you guys. I also make these videos for myself just because I enjoy talking about my bookkeeping business. It seems like you guys kind of enjoy listening to me talk about my bookkeeping business. So that's a win-win. I'm not making these videos. I'm about to tell you how much money I made last month, and I'm not trying to brag or make it seem like I'm better than any of you. I probably am further along than some of you, which means that it's only a matter of time until you guys get to where I am right now. And that's the whole point. I am 3 or 4 years into it. You guys are 3 or 4 months into your bookkeeping business journey. So my goal is to educate you, motivate you, inspire you, and hopefully help you start and grow your own bookkeeping business. That's why it's really hard to find people who are honest and transparent about a bookkeeping business or any business in general. So I am here to be honest, genuine, upfront, transparent with you. So I'm going to tell you exactly how much money I made in March of 2024. Now let's not waste any more time. And I have to say, if any of you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop a chat in this live stream. I will do my best to answer all of your questions. A couple announcements, a couple updates. Yesterday, Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we had our first private and exclusive meeting. It was through like a Zoom call kind of thing, and it was me and 7 other people just like you who are aspiring bookkeeping business owners. And it's kind of like a similar layout to this where I talked a little bit, but also they were on camera. They had an opportunity to talk. We have an opportunity to hold each other accountable, support each other, answer each other's questions. It's like a cool little accountability group. So if you want to join the group, there's a link in the description of this video. Definitely recommend you check it out. I also have a Facebook group. Check that out. And I have a bunch of other links. Check out everything in the description of this video. Okay, let's jump right into it. I'm probably not going to be live for an hour because April 2nd, the second day of every month, is literally the busiest day of the month for me. So I'm crazy busy right now closing out everybody's accounts from March for bookkeeping, like doing my actual job. So I'm not going to be on here for very long, but I will do my best to answer everybody's questions. Now let's talk about the numbers. Let's get right to it. So January, I made $51,000. Best month ever. February, I made $36,000. Really good month. This month, spoiler alert, I made $43,000 $1,000 in March. Now, let me break that down for you. Let me start from like the least important, the smallest numbers to the biggest numbers. First of all, last month I made $800 from YouTube revenue. So that's good money. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. So let me just say thank you all for supporting my channel, watching my videos. Obviously, that's a very small percentage of my total income. So I am certainly not doing this as a living. This is not my full-time gig making these videos, but it's cool to get an extra 600, 800 bucks a month. So I seriously appreciate everybody who tunes in to watch these videos. Thank you so much. Second thing, I sold a course, one course. I did not sell any courses in February. I sold one course to one person last month. That was $1,200. It's a bookkeeping course, full course. I teach you everything you need to know. And then I made $2,000 in consultations. So I do several things. I do one-on-one consultations, 30 minutes, 1 hour. I also sell several different digital downloads, mostly to aspiring bookkeeping business owners. So I made $2,000 last month just in digital downloads and one-on-one consultations. That's pretty sweet. So far, all in, we're like 4,000 bucks, and we haven't even gotten to the bookkeeping yet. And then, side note, like this is really unrelated to everybody, but I think it's pretty cool, so I'm gonna talk about it. I made $7,000 last month as a, a private money lender. So I have some cash, and I lend it out to real estate investors. And us as, I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about this, but us as bookkeepers, we are perfectly leveraged to be private money lenders. First, you need to get some cash. Like you need to have a successful business, run that for 3 years, keep your expenses low, keep your costs low, save a bunch of cash. But we are perfectly leveraged to be private money lenders for 2 reasons. First of all, we have a client base of business owners who need loans. And second of all, we understand how to underwrite loans because we know how to interpret financial reports and taxes. So basically, I have real estate investors. I do their bookkeeping. They buy distressed properties and fix them and flip them, or buy them and rent them out and refinance them. I give them $100,000 cash. They buy a property, they fix it up, they flip it, they pay me back in 6 months. So I charge 12% annual interest plus a 3% origination fee. So if I give you $100,000 right now, you'll pay me $3,000 at closing, and then you'll pay me 1%, $1,000 every month you hold my money. So last month I closed 2 loans. So I made $7,000 between closing costs, origination fees, and monthly interest. So right there, we haven't even got to the bookkeeping yet. I'm at $10,000. So I told you I made $43,000 last month. So just keep in mind, 10,000 of that is not actually from bookkeeping, but 33,000 of that is from bookkeeping. I am right at $25,000 of monthly recurring revenue between like my 58 or 59 clients. They pay me about $440 per month, and it's about 60 clients. It comes out pretty close to $25,000 per month of monthly recurring revenue, which is amazing. If you are thinking about starting or growing a bookkeeping business, this is literally the greatest business of all time. I can confidently say that for 3 reasons. Let me explain this real quick. First of all, we work remotely. We work from home. My wife, she started a home organizing business where she does interior design and helps people declutter their homes. Awesome business. She's crushing it. It's great, but she has to drive to clients' houses. She has to work in person. So she's limited to how much she can get done due to just the time constraints during the day. But for us as bookkeepers, and she's also limited to her client base. Like she can only service clients who are relatively close to our geographical region. But for us as bookkeepers, we work remotely. Right now, I'm in the comfort of my own home. I'm wearing gym clothes and I can work any time of day. Same thing with you guys. So we can service clients all over the country. This business model is literally unbelievable. Work remotely, and it's a necessary service. So not to pick on my wife, but similarly, her business is more of a luxury service. So people don't really need to have an interior designer. Certainly, there's clients out there who are willing to pay for it, but not everybody needs an interior designer. But every business owner needs bookkeeping done. So our services are necessary. So it's super simple for us to sell our services because it's necessary. The IRS requires that you file your taxes. To file your taxes, you need to have a profit and loss. To have a profit and loss, you need to have transactions categorized, aka bookkeeping. And third, the third reason why this is the greatest business of all time is because of this idea of monthly recurring revenue or subscriptions. So instead of, like, if you start a painting business, you might go to somebody's house and like you might paint their basement, but that's just like a one-time thing and then you're done. And then next month you got to go out and find a new basement to paint. But if we land a client and they pay us $300 to do their bookkeeping, we didn't just land a $300 sale. We just landed potentially a $3,600 sale if they keep us for a whole year as their bookkeeper. So this idea of monthly recurring revenue or subscriptions is just unbelievable. Like, now that I have 60 clients, I can almost put my business on cruise control. I can slow down the sales and marketing. I can be relatively confident that I'll make at least $25,000 next month, not to mention any potential new clients or cleanups. Now, let me get to that right now. Perfect segue. So last month, $33,000, but I told you I'm only making about $25,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And that is because I landed 6 cleanup projects. And now, right now, March, April is the perfect time to get clients because business owners need a bookkeeper. And if they went 2023 without a bookkeeper, maybe their husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or mom or dad or whatever or friend from high school was doing their bookkeeping in 2023, and now they decided it's time to get serious. Let's actually hire a bookkeeper. Or maybe they had an office manager or a virtual assistant or a secretary who was helping them with the bookkeeping before, and he or she is just not doing as good of a job. So now it's time to get serious. Outsource the bookkeeping to a true bookkeeping expert. That's what we are. We're bookkeeping experts. We're not just office managers. We're not just virtual assistants. We are bookkeeping experts. So now, March, April, perfect time to get a new client, because not only do you land a new monthly recurring client, but you're also more than likely going to land cleanup work for January, February, and March. So if you land a client right now in April, you're going to get 4 months of bookkeeping. So if you charge them $300, you're going to get a quick paycheck of $1,200 just by landing one client. And that's exactly what happened to me last month. So I landed a new construction business, a small construction business, paying me $500 a month, but we onboarded them in March. So now they're paying me $1,500. They paid me $1,500 last month, and they'll continue to pay me $500 every month. I landed a trucking company who found me on YouTube, and they just needed a very small cleanup. It's just a small owner-operator. They just needed 6 months of bookkeeping in 2023. I charged them $1,300 to do 6 months of bookkeeping. And then I landed a current client has a second business. And so they asked me to do bookkeeping for their second business. And they wanted me to do bookkeeping for October, November, December, January, February, and March. So they wanted me to do 7 months of bookkeeping. It was a small client, only $200, but they ended up paying me $1,400. And then this client also had another business, and that other business, and they needed like 2 or 3 months of bookkeeping. It's like another real estate investor. Real estate investors tend to have multiple different businesses, whether they have like a general contracting business or a holding company, or maybe they're a real estate agent, or maybe they have some rental properties in their personal name. Real estate investors tend to have very complicated books, so they need a lot of help. They are great customers. This particular guy has another holding company, and he needed some help with his bookkeeping. It was only a couple months, ended up being like $1,000. But that's why I tell you, quick side note, starting and growing a successful bookkeeping business, I'm so hyper-focused on steps 2 and steps 3. Step 1, learn QuickBooks and bookkeeping, not a big deal. Step 4, fast forward. Step 4, work really, really hard. Let me just say, umbrella statement, starting and growing a successful bookkeeping business or any business is incredibly difficult. Don't ever let anybody tell you starting a business is easy or fast or quick. It's incredibly difficult and it takes a long time to be successful. I've been doing this for 4 years, which is not even a long time compared to other entrepreneurs. Like, talk to me in 10 or 20 years, that's a long time. But step 2 is sales and marketing. It's so hard to get new clients, especially in the beginning when you have no experience. Step 2, sales and marketing, hardest step. But step 3, deliver high quality customer service. Once you actually get those clients, that's the most important step. As you can see here, I have one client who ended up turning into 3 clients because I did a good job on his first business, and then he onboarded me on his second and his third business. So I ended up making, instead of $500 a month on his first business, now I just made $2,000 in a cleanup, and I'll continue to make an extra $500 per month just because I did a good job for this one particular client and he had a couple other businesses. I'm almost done, guys. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the chat. As soon as I get done explaining all this, I'll answer everybody's questions. And then I landed like a very small cleanup. This particular client, it was a unique situation. Their credit card was okay. They started their business in August. They're using QuickBooks as a payment processor, so their income was all messed up. And it's a very specific problem, and it actually happens all the time. If you ever have a client who's using QuickBooks as a payment processor, and if they ever mention it seems like their income is being doubled, that's because this is a very technical issue. So if you ever run into it, hopefully this quick explanation will kind of help you pick up on it quicker after you've heard this. So QuickBooks is a payment processor. Once the invoice gets closed out, that money gets moved into undeposited funds or payments in transit. And then the money gets deposited into the bank account. Oftentimes, if people have rules set up, or people are trying to do their own bookkeeping, or if people don't know how to use QuickBooks, that money will sit in the undeposited funds and it'll get recorded as a bank deposit as income. So the undeposited funds are basically double counting all of your income. So typically, when a client's using QuickBooks as a payment processor and they complain about their income being double reported, check their balance sheet. Guarantee you their undeposited funds is going to be way too high, way higher than it should be. So you need to go back, undo all of those bank deposits that were incorrectly recorded as income, and then simply match all of those bank deposits to the corresponding undeposited fund transaction. So that's what I did for this particular client. It took me 2 hours, charged him $1,000. Everybody's happy. The last 2 clients I got, one was from Facebook. He and I had been Facebook friends for a long time, maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months. And I implemented my sales and marketing strategy that I tell you guys all the time. I tell you guys, create content every day, connect with business owners on Facebook, and engage with your community. That's exactly what I did here. This particular client, we were Facebook friends for a long time. I knew he had a business. He knew I had a bookkeeping business. I wasn't too pushy. I just genuinely built a relationship with him. And then last month he ended up hiring me, and I'm charging him $350 a month to do his bookkeeping, and I'm managing his accounts receivable. And he is a B2B business owner, which means he sells his services to other business owners. These are great clients because he knows a ton of other business owners. So if I do a good job for him, more than likely, he'd be willing to probably refer me out to his other clients, thus simply growing your bookkeeping business through doing a good job, delivering high quality customer service, and then getting word of mouth referrals. So that's it, guys. That is how much money I made in 2024, and that's pretty much how I made the money. I'm only going to be live for 10 more minutes because, like I said, April 2nd is the absolute busiest day of the month, so I do have to get back to work, but I will do my best. I'm going to go through everybody's questions right now. Let's see. In the very beginning, QBO Tutor, hi Zach, hello. All right then, keep your secrets. Question 1, don't do any paid ads on Facebook. Yes, I think that's a question. I have never run any paid ads on Google or Facebook. You certainly can, but the problem is it's pretty complicated and you want to make sure you get it right. If you get it wrong, you could potentially waste hundreds of dollars and get no results. I definitely recommend try doing organic sales and marketing first for 6 months. And then if that's not working, it's probably because you're doing something wrong. And if it is working and you just want to scale bigger and grow faster, then you could supplement your organic sales and marketing with paid ads. But I don't think that you should exclusively run paid ads. I just don't think it's a good idea. That's just my personal opinion. Question 2, how do you get the customer to pay you before you begin work? What if I'm newer and they don't trust me? Do you send an agreement form or some kind of contract over? Because what if they... Yes. So first of all, I have a client service agreement on my website. You can go there and you can download it. It's the exact same contract that I use. So in order to get paid before you start the work, it's very simple. You send the customer the invoice and you say, hey, I'll get started as soon as you pay the invoice. And it's a little bit difficult for me to put myself in your shoes because I've been doing this for a long time. I do have the experience. People can literally see on my Google My Business profile that I have over 100 5-star reviews. So I'm sure people are more likely to trust me than they might be willing to trust you because you are a potentially brand new bookkeeping business owner. You have two options, only two options. Either you get paid 100% upfront. If the client's not willing to do that, then the only other option is 50% upfront and 50% when you complete the project. Whatever you do, 1000%, you cannot do any work until you get paid a little bit of money. The other option, there's a third option, and this is a little bit more technical, but you could require 50% upfront, and then you could require like 25% once you're halfway done, and then you could require 25% once you're completely done. That way, if anything were to happen, worst case scenario, you only get burnt for 25% of the project. And then I use PandaDoc to electronically deliver all of my agreements, and then the client signs them. And then I use QuickBooks Online as a payment processor. So I send my invoices straight from QuickBooks, and then people can pay electronically using QuickBooks. It's only 1% or a max of $10. So if I charge somebody a $2,000 invoice and they pay with an ACH bank transfer using QuickBooks as a payment processor, it's only going to cost you $10. Not that big of a deal. Giselle Pierce. Hi, Zach. I've heard that it might be a good idea to offer bookkeeping services for free when first starting up a bookkeeping business. What are your thoughts? I would never do that. I think that's a bad idea. I just don't like that idea. Instead of offering up free bookkeeping services, double down on sales and marketing. Just seriously spend 2 hours every single day for the next 2 months doing sales and marketing. I promise you, you're going to get a bookkeeping client. Nathan, hello, Zach. How do you explain a quote to a client? I just sent a $1,000 cleanup invoice, so wish me luck. Good luck. I explain a quote to a client. So I don't tell them it's going to be $2 per transaction. I simply tell people I have a $200 minimum. So whatever you want me to do, however big your business is, it's going to be at least $200 per month. So if you want me to do a whole year of bookkeeping, it's going to be $200. And let me give you a perfect example. And this is so true. This literally just happened to me today. Let me find it in my email real quick. Let me tell you exactly what I said, because I guarantee you this is going to happen to you too. So somebody asked me for a 2023 cleanup, and I always ask the client, when would you like me to start bookkeeping? For a couple reasons. Usually they're going to say, well, I don't really know how up to date my bookkeeping is. But I usually let people tell me first for two reasons. One, people typically don't know if their bookkeeping's all caught up. So if they want you to do a 2023 cleanup, they'll probably just say, I don't know, you probably need to do all of January through December. Whereas like, imagine if you went through somebody's books and you were like, oh, you probably only need like a 6-month cleanup, like June through December. And then imagine if instead of you doing that first, if you just would have asked them, maybe they don't know. Maybe they say like, just, you got to do all 12 months. So you just potentially lost out on 6 months of billing a client for bookkeeping just by telling them like, hey, I'll just do your bookkeeping for 6 months. The other reason you don't want to do it is because I would hate to tell a client like, yeah, your bookkeeping looks good from January through June. I just need to do bookkeeping from July through December. I never tell people that. If I don't do your bookkeeping, there's no way for me to confirm if it was done correctly. So I don't want to be in the business of telling people their books look good up until June, because if there's a mistake from January through June, all of a sudden now it's my fault because I told them their books look good when in reality, like I was just trying to be a nice guy and not charge you for 12 months of bookkeeping, but I didn't really know if your books were good from January through June. So if you're ever doing a 12-month cleanup, I usually just say like, I got to do all 12 months. Like there's really no way around that. So this person said, I'm not really sure how organized it is. So I guess you have to do all 12 months. I just don't really want to spend the money for all 12 months. And then she said, if it looks kind of organized, would it still be $200 for every month? And here was my response. I think this is perfect. And this is so true. Like I promise you, I was not just trying to like squeeze an extra $500 out of my client. Like this is seriously so true. And this is based off of my experience. Here's what I said back to her. I said, oftentimes kind of organized can actually be more work than starting from scratch because I need to differentiate between what is right and what is not right. It usually ends up being just as much work, unfortunately. So yes, it will still be $200 per month. And then the client was like, okay, sounds good. Let me know what needs to be done after that. And that I am so happy I did that because in my personal experience, when I've tried to do like a cleanup for somebody and it looks like it's like halfway done, like half of the credit cards are in and some of the bank statements are in, like it's so difficult. Like I wish I could have just started from scratch instead of trying to figure out what's right and what's not right. So I forget what the question was. How do you explain a quote to a client? $200 minimum. The quote all depends on the size and complexity of your business. In order to give you an exact quote, I'm going to need to see your bank statements. And then I simply look at their bank statements and I say, hey, based on the size and complexity of your business, your bookkeeping quote's going to be $300 per month. So if you want me to do all of your bookkeeping for 2023, it's going to be 12 times $300 per month. I don't know if this is psychological. I don't know if this is a big deal, but I generally try to avoid ever saying the actual or typing the actual number of $3,000 in the email. So if it's going to be $300 a month for 2023 bookkeeping, I feel like psychologically that's a big number. So I try to avoid actually typing that number in the email. So I will just simply say it's going to be $300 per month. If you need the whole year, it's going to be 12 times $300. That just to me sounds like less money. It looks like less, it feels like less money than $3,600. But it's all based on the size and complexity of your business. That's all the explanation that I provide. I'm not going to be able to get to all the questions, guys. I'm so sorry. I got to go soon just because I'm so busy, but I hope this video was somewhat helpful. And if you guys have any other questions, join my Facebook group, join my weekly meetings, and tune in to my next live video. It's going to be a little bit longer, hopefully next week. Let me take a look at a couple other questions here. Let's see. I'm just starting out, but no experience. Do you still think best to just learn with first clients? Simon Bradley, yes. Focus on sales and marketing. By doing sales and marketing, do some research on bookkeeping tips for business owners. Maybe make a QuickBooks tutorial on YouTube or Facebook Live. And by you doing research and trying to learn bookkeeping tips so that you can publish some marketing content, something really interesting happens. You actually become like more of a bookkeeping expert by doing research, talking about bookkeeping on your Facebook or LinkedIn, having conversations with potential clients or people who have questions about bookkeeping. You are actually going to become more of a bookkeeping expert by doing sales and marketing over the course of 2 months. So the best thing to do, spend a couple weeks learning bookkeeping in QuickBooks and then just spend all of your time doing sales and marketing. It's going to be so hard in the beginning. It was so hard for me. It took me like 2 months to get my first client, but you got to spend the time, 2 hours every day. Do research, read blog posts, watch YouTube videos, learn bookkeeping tips, learn QuickBooks tips, and then make your own content. Do some sales, send some friend requests, engage with your community. I promise you, if you spend 2 hours every day for 60 days straight, I promise you, you're going to be really close to getting your first client. Let's see. To add to Simon Bradley's question, what do you say if they ask you about experience and they would be your first client? So nobody ever asked me, like, hey, am I going to be your first client? Some people did say, Do you have any experience? And so the only thing I would ever say, I would never lie to a client, but I would always just tell people, like, I'm a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor, which is true. Nobody ever asked me if they're going to be my first client, but I would not sacrifice my integrity to land a client. So don't lie. If somebody did ask you that point blank, unfortunately, you would have to say yes. One thing you can do to hopefully get around that is ask your friends and family to give you a Google review. Don't ask them to lie on the Google review, but just simply ask them to say, hey, Zach Pasquarello, I highly recommend you use his services. He is a great business owner and he is great with QuickBooks. None of that is a lie, even if you don't have any clients. So definitely recruit your friends and family to get you a couple Google reviews, and then just never give up. Never give up. That's all I have for today, guys. I got to get back to work. I hope right now it's 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching this YouTube video right now, if you have a couple hours today, I hope you take the next 2 hours to do sales and marketing. Try to go out and get a bookkeeping client. I will see you all in the next video.